I remember a time, it was within the first year and a half of planting the church, and I remember laying in bed and we were talking about so many of the things that we were carrying. And I remember like holding Carey's hand and saying, do you think it's always going to feel this way?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is the Leading Second podcast, where we're on a mission to equip local churches everywhere to raise uncommon leaders. The Leading Second podcast releases every Thursday morning, so hit follow and share this episode with your team. Now let's jump into another episode for all of us who lead from the middle. From the second chair, for the second chair. Welcome to the Leading Second podcast. My name is Clark, and I'm one of the team members here at Leading Second, and I'm so glad you've joined us. And I'm excited to share another great episode that we have in store for you today. It's a great conversation with some of our favorite lead pastors. And don't forget to visit leadingsecond.com/podcast to find the episode guide for today's conversation. It's a resource available for you to help maximize the content in this episode. These guides outline main points, help jumpstart conversations, and also provide discussion questions. So consider taking your team through it, or maybe just use it for your own personal development. Before we jump into the conversation today, I wanted to remind you Leading Second Camp 2023 is coming up soon. Registration is open, and here is your invitation to join us. This year, Leading Second Camp is in two incredible cities. So first one is Salt Lake City, Utah, and the second one is Calgary, Alberta. So consider this your personal summit with God to be renewed, realigned, and equipped for your role in church life. And at camp, you'll experience a curated conference-style event, and you're going to be surrounded by peers in ministry. We hope to see you there. It's time to fan into flame the gift of God that is in you. In 2023, the journey continues. The Leading Second tribe gathers again. One dynamic event, two cities, two nations, all for Jesus. Calling all church builders, executive pastors, campus pastors, lead team members for inspiration, for impartation, that we may be found faithful. You're invited to be in the room for Leading Second Camp 2023, February 22nd and 23rd, Salt Lake City, Utah. March 8th, Calgary, Alberta, featuring Brandon and Lindsay Stewart and Larry Bry. Registration is open now. Spots are limited. For more information and to register, visit leadingsecondcamp.com. For today's interview, we are honored to welcome a handful of our favorite lead pastors to the podcast. Brandon sits down with them and to talk about what's it like being in the lead role. So let's jump into the conversation.
All right. Well, I have some of my, don't tell the others, favorite lead pastors in the room for this conversation today. We're going to have some fun.
That's what you said, all the girls.
I want to welcome, first of all, Pastor Jason Parrish from the Well Church in Salt Lake City, Utah.
The one and only.
Glad to be talking to you today. Also, the host location for Leading Second Camp 2023.
Let's go.
Come on, just little commercial.
Carey and Megan will definitely be there because they love the snow.
We love it.
Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. We're going to have a good time. And Pastors Carey Meghan Robinson from Orange County.
Yeah.
The
Looking all
Movement
tan.
Church.
Maybe.
I was literally saying I'm so pale right now.
He did. I was like, please stop talking.
That's so funny. I'm glad you guys are here. Pastor Pace Hartfield from One Place Church
Rocking
in
a mullet.
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Come on.
Yeah, rocking the mullet.
Doing what it can.
We're glad.
Impressive.
We're glad it's here today, along with you.
Thank you.
It's its own person.
So we're going to have some fun today because this is a lead pastor conversation.
Yeah.
We haven't done this, I don't think, the whole season 5 for Leading Second podcast. And what I thought we could do today was we could talk about what you think about. as pastors, what you think from the first chair. And we got another part of this conversation coming up soon with leaders from your teams.
Wow.
Mind you, we're going to talk
terrifying.
from the second chair. We're going to talk about you.
Are they paid or
Great,
volunteers? That
great.
matters.
Yeah. We've screened well, I promise. First of all, I just want to say we honor you as lead pastors, and so important to carry that heart throughout our tribe as leading second. And today, I think you're sort of here to represent lead pastors. You're sort of supposed to speak on behalf of pastors from the lead seat. So, tell us. We want to know, what do you think? I think sometimes there's just breakdown in teams because we're sitting there sometimes wondering what's pastor thinking right now about this. So maybe you can just give a little bit of voice to what goes on in a pastor's head. And our kind of theory for this episode is the better that our relationship is, the first and the second chair, the better our relationship is, the more aligned our teams will be and the healthier our churches will be. So the more we get this right, the better things are going to go for us. So the first question I have for you the reason I asked all of you specifically is I respect each of your journeys serving in the second chair. You all served in the second chair before the lead pastor seat. So maybe a couple of you can answer this one. Why did you end up as lead pastors? What did that journey even feel like for you? What did that calling? Because side note, we really believe leading second is a calling.
Yeah, totally.
And of course, leading out in front is a calling. So just what was that journey like for you to find your way to that seat?
First of all, Megan and I are grateful for leading second for you and your team, your wife. Our team has benefited from it.
Yep.
I want to bring the honor back to you. So we're grateful. But man, for me it was just a calling. I think for both me and my wife to actually plant and start a church, and I didn't want to. I loved doing what I was doing in the second chair. So I say that because I think that was how we knew it was time. Because I was enjoying what I was doing. I wasn't trying to get somewhere next or higher elevation or greater platform. But also really what helped us was we were just submitted to our leaders and they said it's time.
That's right.
And that unlocked it.
Right.
And it was permission to dream. And we had great conversations about that, but they said it's time. We're behind you. Let's pray through this and take this next step.
Yeah, great.
So that, I wish I could say we're running hard. We called to plant the church, but it was our pastor saying, we believe it's time. You need to go do this. So.
I would just echo that it was a word from God, a word from the Holy Spirit that was in our hearts for a season. And we felt like we heard God, but we weren't 100% confident in the fact that we heard God. We felt like we heard God say that he'd called us to plant a church. And
6 years earlier.
6 years before we did. And maybe California. And we just really felt a conviction of the Holy Spirit that was a later dream and not a now dream. And so we just set it on the shelf of our hearts and said, God, we trust you with your timing. And when we went to be a part of a great church in Arizona and serve under our pastors, Pastor Dave and Sheree Wright, we submitted that to them. And but we knew that season we were there, we were called to lift their arms. And so we just ran hard after lifting their arms. And I think that is part of the reason that God just made it so clear when the timing was right with our pastors.
That's beautiful.
I similar to them, I was serving a pastor for almost 16 years.
Wow.
7 years into that journey, I literally had to stop praying or asking God about pastoring because anytime I tried, I felt like he was disciplining me, like reprimanding me. Stop.
Right.
Just stop. You just be faithful. And if and when. So honestly, I had to die to the idea. It was a thing that I had to lay down. And for the next 9 years, I just carried another man's water, helped my pastor go to a different, elevation, and I followed him, I did everything I could for him. And so it kind of caught me off guard.
Wow.
I was actually in the city that I'm now pastoring in with my brother-in-law on a break, and he just hit, and I knew immediately it was just permission to begin to pray. And so that it was for me.
Wow.
Beautiful.
We've always known that we would be in Utah one day, so that was definitely a part of the journey. But kind of like similar to Carey and Meghan, where we were at and what we were doing was in a super healthy place. It was good. It was, for lack of better terms, let's do the air quotes, successful at that point. So we didn't have any reason to pray for what was next.
Yeah.
So in some ways, God came
Great.
alongside in that moment and had to speak and get my attention.
Totally.
In order, because I probably would have stayed comfortable in the space that we were in because it was a good place to be.
Yeah.
And so I actually could have ignored the voice of God from years and years previous because everything in that moment was super good.
Wow.
And we were having a ton of fun, and we were in a good place, and we had all of the great accoutrements in the house,
Right,
and we were
right.
settled, and we loved Phoenix in that space. So it was in the same way a call from God. It was like, hey, it's time for you guys to go, and then the journey came out of that.
I love it, and I love each of you. I love each of your churches. Something so unique and special about each.
Which one's your favorite?
Like I said, don't tell the others, Carey. Don't tell the others. So here's the big question.
Yeah.
I want you each to weigh in on this one. If we don't go anywhere, I just want to go here.
Okay.
And it's just simply, what do you wish your team knew about what you carry as a pastor?
That's great.
And what do you think in general
Yeah.
pastors wish their teams knew about
great.
what you carry as pastors?
Yeah.
For Sarah and I, it's that what God has placed in our hearts, the vision that He's given us and continues to give, because it's like progressive, you
Right.
know, is too big for just us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
we not only want you to carry with us, we need you.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
beautiful.
what God has given us vision for will not be fulfilled without you.
That's great.
That's fantastic.
Yep. What we carry, and I think you guys would all probably agree on this, is that I think sometimes there can be a disconnect that when we leave the office or when we're moving around and doing all the things we do, all the responsibilities, that like there's moments in our lives where the church doesn't exist. And it's I think important for teams to know that especially for us as lead pastors, it's always sitting on our shoulder. It's the first thing we're thinking about when we wake up in the morning. It's potentially, and many times, especially for like me and Erica, it's the last thing we're talking about when we go to bed.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's in everything, in every part of who we are. It's in my kids' lives.
Yep.
Like we don't get to disconnect from it. And so I
great.
think the more that teams understand, like, no, actually, we are thinking about it all the time. We're in this mess all the time. It's constantly engulfing
Yep.
us. So the things that you're seeing, we're probably definitely seeing them, and 10 times more.
Right.
It's more heightened. It's more intense. It's more of that. And that's not like a woe is me. It's just like people being aware. We get it. We know because it's on us.
That's what here's a question for you. I mean, is it fair to say you probably always understood that to a degree? You've been in proximity of pastors for a long time. You probably understood that to a degree, but is it fair to say you didn't fully understand it until you sat in that seat?
Yeah.
100%.
maybe the most
100%.
like stupid statement I said the whole day. You know, but you know, maybe like explain, I guess, the moment where that hit you. Like I never fully realized what this would be like until being
Full transparency and honesty.
Yeah.
When the thing that came out of my mouth was, I was thinking to myself, man, I'll never say what X pastor said. And then I said it and I was like, oh, that's why he said that.
I get it now.
Yeah, it wasn't even the same situation. It was just
Yeah.
like,
Didn't matter.
I got his weight.
Yeah.
I know what he was carrying, so why he was thinking the way he was thinking and deciding the way he was deciding and saying no to the things he was saying no to and yes to the other things that he was saying yes to. That was when I was like, oh, this is a weight issue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just think we lose sight of that ability as second chair leaders to actually get up in the mind of our pastors as much as we can. We can't fully, but we lose that moment. I think sometimes a decision comes down or something tense happens and we think about us, we think about our seat, we think about our role, how it impacts us. But I think a lot less of the time do we elevate and get up and like what would this feel like to my pastor right now?
Right.
This thing happening,
That's
or
correct.
my actions, my words.
Yep.
I remember a time, it was within the first year and a half of planting the church, and I remember laying in bed and we were talking about so many of the things that we were carrying. And I remember like holding Carey's hand and saying, do you think it's always going to feel this way?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And we both were like, yeah. And then it was just this resolve and decision in that moment that, okay, like if this is the weight God's called us to carry, then we'll carry it.
It was a shift.
But it was a moment where it was like, I thought I knew what the weight would feel like, but I didn't know until we were actually holding it. And
I always think about the story of Abraham and Isaac when God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son. Isaac carried the sticks, but Abraham carried the burden. And so I think the question you asked, I think for anybody that's in the second chair or support staff, if they could just remember we carry a burden they can't see and trust us sometimes.
Yeah.
Not
That's
sometimes,
so
but
good.
trust us. It's great. And what I found with our team is when they trust me with something they can't see, I trust them because they have a perspective I don't see. Because I realize that I'm not a great youth
really good,
pastor.
Carey.
I'm not a great worship director. I don't see those things. And they do. And so when that trust is reciprocal, it's a game changer. But I think it has to come first knowing there's a burden that we carry that they don't.
So
and
good.
it's challenging for me, Brandon, sometimes to not become condescending about that.
Yeah.
Like I found myself going, you have no freaking clue.
Yeah.
But that's horrible because my pastor would have wanted to say that. He was quite a gracious pastor. He was so gracious. But I'm like, I have to remind myself, wait a minute, we're not in the same seat, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah, totally.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, no, for me specifically, remembering, when I would hear pastors say, hey, you'll never understand, you'll never love the church like I love the church, you'll never, it's just a different thing. And then when I became a lead pastor, somebody said, hey, what's been the biggest difference from the weight you were carrying then and the weight you're carrying now? And the word that I thought of is what you're referring to. It's like, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's different. I think we have people on our teams that are weight bearing and they're carrying a ton of weight. They are. They're carrying lots of weight for us. It's just we're carrying a different weight. It's heavy, yes, but I love that idea of burden versus sticks and the weight that they can't see that we carry, because there's just a side of it that they may not be able to understand.
So let's be honest for a minute, because I'll advocate for the second chair for a second. That let's be honest. Okay, second chair leaders carry weight too, and there is an added tension. The added tension is second chair leaders are also at the same time not fully in charge of their own schedule. Y'all can take off when you want to take off.
Fact.
Second chair, different situation. So I want to acknowledge that.
Totally.
But the reason I want to acknowledge it is also to dispel it, because that's true. And that is the tension of leading in the middle, and why leading second exists is to help leaders navigate those tensions. But what I'm advocating for in this conversation is we can't start there as second chair leaders. We can't make that our starting argument. Well, pastor, you can take off whenever you want. You can take a sabbatical. You can do that. Like, no, don't go there.
Right.
Like, what if you flipped it and started when something comes down you don't understand, or a decision, or what if you actually started with, okay, let me try to get in my pastor's headspace. Where's he at right now? Where's she at right now? How do I first understand where they're coming from before I try to advocate for my seat? Does that make sense? Let's just create a different starting point, because I think maybe for me, I've not had a lot of tension with Pastor Kevin over the years. Anytime I have, I think it's because we were looking past each other. And I really think that would be like a root issue. Is he was asking me to see something from a different perspective, and I wasn't. I was starting by looking out for me. So I'm trying to kind of advocate. What if we don't make that our starting point? It's a worthy conversation. It should happen at some point, but maybe not first.
It's definitely a false starting place too, but because as a lead pastor, we can't just leave whenever we want. We have to 100%. We have to lead 100%. To be able to leave. So it's like, okay, like, oh yeah, just leave. You can leave. No, I can't. I can't. 100%. I gotta make sure that when I leave, it doesn't fall apart.
100%.
And when I come back.
And the other forgotten piece is that pastors are still people under authority. Still people that answer to spiritual accountability and legal accountability and all that. So.
And I would say we feel called to equip and to activate the purpose and the calling inside of our team. And
100%.
we care about their well-being and their health. And so some of even what you're talking about, I would say, man, come and talk to me. If you need time to rest, if you're struggling, if your heart is heavy, what can we do to help equip you to be healthy? Because we understand that you're carrying a weight that is building the church, and we want to equip you in every way possible. So I would say that's something that is on our hearts all the time.
Okay, so let me ask you a question about that. So when, and any of you can weigh in on this, when a leader on your team comes to you, they have a need. I need a minute. I need something taken off my plate. I had that moment actually in 2021 when we had our baby prematurely.
Yeah.
I went to Pastor Kevin. I've rarely ever done it. I waved the white flag and said, I can't right now.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I need grace. This is 4 months out from our team church conference. I was carrying it at the time. I mean, and I was like, I'm tapped.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just need help. So, I mean, that's a real moment.
Yeah.
Right.
My question for you is, what do you want to hear from your leaders if they arrive at that
Oh,
moment?
that's great.
That's great. I can tell you, we've missed those moments.
Yeah, we have.
So we had some team members in 2020, and we're all just going, God, where are we going? How are we doing this?
Keeping our head above water.
And they came and said that, and we didn't dismiss it, but we didn't address it, and it hurt them, hurt us. So I can tell you we've done it wrong for sure.
Yeah.
But I will also tell you though that the team members who are courageous to say, "Hey, I need help."
Yeah.
I think sometimes our team doesn't want to be a burden to us, but that is a burden we can manage rather than getting to a place where your life blows up. And now it's different. So that's one of my favorite things. When you need help, ask for it, and we'll figure this thing out.
So good.
So because of past mistakes, we now are listening with a more attentive ear. Yeah. And I take ownership for that. That was my responsibility. So.
Yeah, I think it's when someone's willing to speak up and say, Pastor, I am committed. I'm here.
Right.
I'm in this with you, but I'm struggling right now and I need help. Could you help me look at this situation I'm facing? And maybe there's something that we take off my plate. Maybe there's a role shift. Whatever you see, I'm for. I think that posture is so it's encouraging as a lead pastor.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, and for me, the to finish my story, that actually, was probably a 15-month journey of walking through that, but then an actual complete role change of Pastor Kevin realizing, okay, we actually need to shift some things around here. And I guess I have always found my pastor to be really, really fair about that conversation, but I have a responsibility in that to come with the right heart, the right posture, to demonstrate faithfulness. I'm not just trying to tap out here.
Yeah.
I'm not just trying to get an extra week of vacation or something, but that we both have responsibilities around that.
Right. And I think he can trust that in you though, because of previous realities. He's paying attention to what's going on in your life. He's paying attention to what's going on in your behaviors. He's paying attention to your responsibilities. He's paying attention to all those things. So I think that's where there's the give and the take on it as well. It's it's a whole lot easier for us to assess hey, we'll give you anything and everything possible to give you rest and give you health and everything like that, especially as the track record has been, I've been responsible. It's not like I'm trying to duck out and do all those things. And I think that's where sometimes it can be a miss because people assess to us what they think we're going to think about what it is that they're trying to bring to the table
100%.
versus just going hey, I've done all these things to show myself approved, so my senior leader is going to trust me and coming to him or her and saying, hey, I like time out. I need a break for a second, or I need this.
So I'm a huge proponent of offering grace to our pastors. Pastors are human. Pastors are going to make wrong calls. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to just make different calls. Sometimes maybe it's not a matter of right or wrong. Right. Maybe it's just I'd paint the wall white and someone else will paint it purple. Maybe it's just something as little as that. So let me ask you this: where do lead pastors need grace?
Everywhere.
I knew that. I was waiting for that one.
Let somebody else go first.
Oh man, I don't know how you guys are when it comes to this, but I would say even just personally. But one of the things we've talked out is it's hard to hold a smile all the time. And for me, that's where we honestly need grace. I don't know how many moments of tension I've been in because I didn't keep my smile on. And it's like, no, I just need a moment. Like I just got hit with somebody's statement that completely threw me off. My face has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with what I'm processing right now. And so it's amazing how many like points of conflict have taken place in staff realities or volunteer realities between a senior me and my team, just because I wasn't wearing the smile that I normally wear. You know what I mean? And then it's like, well, what's wrong with him? What did I do? It's like it had nothing to do with you. It had everything to do with this situation over here, or the email that I just got, or the text message I probably shouldn't have opened, but I did because I was dumb. And now I'm mad. I'm frustrated. I'm ticked, and it's on my face. And it is what it is.
Good.
And it's not about you.
It's
so
great.
like giving us grace there to actually like have human emotion in certain moments.
That's great.
You mean you want to be able to have human emotions? I understand it.
I know, right?
A wild idea.
I need grace when I don't have the answer right away.
Yeah.
Very good.
Like just, you know what, I don't have that answer for you, or I don't know the direction right now. Like just give me a little bit of space, give me a little grace. We'll get there.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you appreciate in that moment when a team member then says, okay, I'm good with that. Can we circle back up in X amount of time?
100%.
It keeps it on the radar, right?
Yeah.
You're not asking for it to die.
Yep.
You're just asking for space. But I feel like it's helpful to say, okay, I'll revisit that with you in 7 days, if you, or pick a time.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that, I think in that moment, a second chair leader could feel like they're a nuisance, a burden.
What you don't want is, you don't want to have your pastor feel like you have now added something to their task list for the week.
Correct.
It's can I get with Michaela and circle back around with you on the best time to talk about this?
Very good.
Versus just texting me, got an answer yet? Or
I'm thinking about, my main volunteer job the last few years has been planning our Team Church conference. And this year in particular, it was just busy year, travel for my pastors, busy year for all of us.
Yeah.
And we were planning the conference in the middle of it. And I had decisions like I needed made yesterday, and sometimes we'd get on the phone and get off the phone, and I was like, I do not have all the answers I need here, and just the grace for that space. But I guess I tried to also steward it and realize, he will need me to bring this back. So when is that moment? How do I approach that again? I'm not trying to nag. I'm not trying to handle him or something like that. So I think there's a grace to that. Maybe learning a rhythm, a flow with your pastor.
100%.
I think I was just thinking about that. I think where I need grace is the shadow side of my personality. So because it surfaces. I'm on the Enneagram. I'm an 8. On the disc, I'm a D. No. Whatever all those other
DI.
No.
I love to hang out and have fun, but I'm also a little intense. And there's a thing with Enneagram 8s. It's called confrontational intimacy. So I actually make the best decisions when we can argue through something.
Yes, me too.
And so sometimes for team members that's not their gift mix, that is tension, that is pain.
Shuts them down.
Intimidating. And so I was onus on me to know that about my team members, but man, if they can have grace for me on that and kind of jump in the arena with me, then I trust more. And I'm like, it makes me come alive and it awakens me. But sometimes I'm not always the healthiest person. Sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I may be a little rude. So a little grace would be helpful. So
Sarah, I'm the same way. Carey, Sarah will come out for a meeting sometime and say, hey, your passion did exactly the opposite of what you were hoping would happen.
And you're like, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
What a compliment.
Appreciate that.
Hold on, I got to pause. Are you all 8s?
I'm a 7 with
She's
a
an
very
8 at
high
home.
8.
She's a 7 with friends.
Why did I do this? I got a whole room of 8s ready to
No
go.
joke. She's a 1, but she's an 8 with me.
Absolutely.
No,
They don't have an
Lindsay's an 8
option.
at home.
Yeah.
But Carey's right. Like that confrontational thing is a real thing. So Eric and I are both 8s. My wife and I are both 8s. And so we are actually the most intimate. We fight out a lot of
Settle
stuff.
down. It's a different podcast.
Yeah, it's just true. We'll do that later.
That's why our hangs are always so spicy.
We're always
fighting
100%.
Yeah,
100%. And I think it's a real thing. So that's a really cool thought, Carey. I love that. That's great.
I would say within that, some of the grace offered, because when you are passionate, and I think when I'm passionate about something or maybe prophetically sensing something, and this would be for Carey as well, sometimes I respond with an intensity that takes our staff by surprise, because typically in our staff environments, Carey would be the more intense on a consistent basis than I would.
And she's going to make sure everybody's
and I'm
feeling
going to
good.
make sure everybody feels good and is happy. But when I'm feeling passionate or when I get a prophetic sense that there's something happening, I speak with that level of intensity. And our team usually is like shrinking in their seats and thinks I'm mad at them. And I'm like, I'm not mad at you. I just need you to hear this. I need you to receive it. And so I think it's grace in those moments.
So let's we'll end here in just a second, but I want to ask you or talk through this with you guys. So I won't look at people. I have talked to certain members of certain people's teams at this table, where they needed a place to vent. They needed a place to. I do not understand my pastor's headspace right now. Like I do not understand like where they're at. And what I would say is because I have an 8 pastor too. I mean every leader in the middle, you actually need a place to go that is safe to process. That is very now it has to be a person that is for your pastor, for your church, committed to integrity. So this is not just anybody.
That's why we love leading second.
Well, and we're raising that conversation where I think Larry Bryce said it at camp this year. Who are your 3? It was maybe a rhetorical 3, but he was talking about Peter, James, and John with Jesus. But just this idea, like, where do you go? Because if you have that place to go, I mean, maybe in some of those conversations, I didn't help solve any problems. Maybe I just diffused. Maybe it was just a pressure release. Maybe it was just you can keep going. You know, you can face. And to me, that's a valuable space with the right people at the right time, because then I can return to my pastor. You know, I can return to my pastor, return to that space full of faith again, full of life again. I'm not sitting right up. It's not right under the surface. You know, and I can stay fresh and refreshing to him.
Agreed.
It's great.
You know, so I'm advocating for that right now with leaders to set up that rhythm in their life of safety. I mean, summer of 2020, I made my own phone calls to people. I mean, I put the question out there to my 3 or 2 at the time. And the question of, do I move on? Do I? Little did I know, my pastor's literally asking the same questions of himself in the same month. You know, at the same time, we had no clue. You know, so thank God for places to process and get that, you know, out of the way. Let me just ask you this, close it down. What's your greatest prayer for church teams in this season?
Wow, it's great.
It's a great question.
We all look at Jason. We gotta start, bro.
Oh man,
he just prays in the Spirit.
That's right. My greatest prayer. I know I'm praying this for our team. We're praying this for our team, and we'd pray this over other teams. Is that they would remember that the burden is easy and light. That what we are carrying is not ours in the first place. So that removes a lot of the tension. And I think sometimes what can happen by de facto, because we have people on our teams that love what's happening, they love the church, they love us as senior leaders. So I think sometimes what they do is they actually take on an undue burden. When we're trying to release the burden ourselves and remember that it's Jesus is in the first place, it's an easy and light burden. So then they take on the mantle of a heavier burden. It's like, no. Like, you need to still remember that it's easy and light. It's not yours. It's not ours. It's Jesus's. And I think if our teams can remember that all the way around, wonderful. We're going to be stronger positions.
Wonderful.
That's great. I'd say be keen to listen, you know, praying that our teams would be keen to hear from God, to lean in and to listen, but then be ready out of it to make a move. Not, you know, okay, I heard and now I want to take a little time to process it. No, be keen to listen, be ready, be leaning in, but then let's make a move.
It's great.
Yeah, I think my greatest prayer for our team is that they would have an intimate relationship with Jesus, that they would love him so much, that he would be their source, that in the moments where they feel like walking away and they feel like giving up, that they would remember that the gifts and calling of God are irrevocable, and that they're called by God, and that he will sustain them. And I think that determination comes with an intimate relationship with Jesus and an infilling of the Holy Spirit. And so that's my greatest prayer for
That's great.
teams.
It's awesome.
Yeah, my mind is that they would be able to hold on to the joy of ministry.
Yeah.
You know, that Jesus said, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, and there's pain in that. But man, if they can hold on to the joy of why we do this,
great.
which I'm praying through for myself too.
Yeah.
There's a reason we got into ministry.
Yeah.
To help people,
Yeah.
to make a difference, to connect the dots, to point people to Jesus, and to not get caught up in the other stuff that we forget that the joy of it. There's pain, but you can still have joy. So. Yeah.
Joy, pump it up,
Sing
and pain. Like sunshine.
Thanks, guys, for a great conversation today.
Shut it down.
He's like, it's not going any further.
Well, thanks, guys, for a great conversation today. I really, really believe this is going to help a lot of leaders.
To find the episode guide, visit our website, leadingsecond.com/podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram @leadingsecond and join us on the Leading Second Collective on Facebook.